wants a king. Right before that, God was their king. And then the people demanded a king because what? They wanted to be like the other nations.
Yeah, exactly.
And God gave them a warning. He said, look, this is not going to work out well. If you have a king, he's going to do this, this, and this, and basically end in slavery. Okay, and they said, of course, because they're fleshly, sinful people, they said, no, we want our king anyway. And he said, okay. And then he said to Samuel, it's not you they've rejected, it's me as their king that they have rejected. So Israel had a choice between God and big government. They chose big government, and exactly what God said was going to happen happened. They were oppressed, they were ruled, they were turned into slaves, and then we are faced with the exact same choice today. It's clear that those who are advancing big government want full control, and then there are people like us who want to go way back the other way. So God has put it to us: do we want Him as our king, or do we want government as our king? And if we choose government, I think He's going to do the same thing that He did with the Israelites, and it's going to end badly for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Because in the end, they were exiled and judged in brutal fashion for their idolatry. You know, and I pray that we never see that here in America. And I think He's giving us a chance, one last chance, to turn back to Him. And I see it happening. There's a lot of hopeful stuff. But yet beyond the Tea Party, like there's because the Tea Party is not a religious movement necessarily, but as you know, a lot of Christians are involved.
That's what I found out. I found out a lot of Christians were involved in the Tea Party. And I was surprised when I would talk to people and find out they were Christians, they were going to church, really committed Christians.
Yeah.
And so but that wasn't in the news either.
Yeah.
None of this stuff is out there in the media. And one thing has happened, I was reading something today, and it's talked about how, I don't know how true this is, how the CIA was involved in the media and how they get people to think a certain way and move it's like you put so much out there. And we Americans, we kind of believe anything the media would say. And I began to look at this a couple of years ago when I started seeing news from other countries. And I remember, I'll give you a good example. When we always see stories on Africa, we see the Zulus coming down the street and they would have their half-naked clothes on. And in Africa, and I always thought Africa was like that, and everybody in Africa was like that. Until I was in a friend of mine's office one day, and he was an attorney for a large law firm here in Richmond. And on his wall was this picture of these skyscrapers in this metropolitan city. And I said, "Oh, you've been to New York?" He said, "That's not New York, that's Africa." I'm like, I never knew that, but the news can be distorted to think one way until we find out everybody don't think like Americans do. That we only get American news, and they feed us what they want to feed us. So we have to go outside of that realm, especially the internet is good for that, and we can find out information that's on the internet, and we can find out truth that's been hidden from us. And I guess if we didn't have the internet, we'd be really, really brainwashed.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the internet is, has the other side as well. There's a lot of nonsense out there, but as long you just have to know where to look and check all the sources. I don't believe anyone. It doesn't matter.
Like you,
I've learned enough over the past few years to know to not trust anyone. Even people I think are trustworthy, I still check behind them because they might make mistakes. Even if they're generally honest people, like I make mistakes, so I would tell people when I say something, just check behind me. We shouldn't take anything for granted.
Yeah. Well, John, this is a great book, man. I really enjoyed reading it, and it was very eye-opening to me as I was reading it. And I hope other people will pick it up and read it too. It's called Saving America by Jonathan Wakefield, A Christian's Perspective of the Tea Party Movement. And if you see it in the bookstores, pick it up. Browse through it and you'll see for yourself. It's great reading.
Yeah, it's on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com.
Okay, Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
BarnesandNoble.com.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. So you can order it there.
Yeah, it's very thought-provoking, the things that are going on in our country, and I'm so sometimes disheartened that we Americans don't participate in knowing and being involved in stuff. I don't care what side you're on. Find out the truth of what's happening in our nation and where we're going as a country. Because you and I, we love this country. My father and his three brothers served in World War I. They served in my father was in North Africa. His brother was in the battle of in was the Pacific Ocean. I think of the name of the battle where they fought in the Pacific Ocean. Midway. I'm sorry, Midway. And his other brother served in World War II in Vietnam. He was a lifetime guy there. And after that, my brothers, uncles and cousins all served in Bosnia, Vietnam, Korea, Germany, different places like that. But they served their time and made for this country, you know, for our freedom. And it's in my blood, you know, America's in my blood. Now, I don't want to see this country fade away from the heritage that we have so long believed in, the freedom that we have so long treasured. I was at a swearing-in ceremony at the federal courthouse a couple of years ago, and people from all over the world. The room was packed with people from all over the world, and they told stories how they had struggled to get to America, and it was a swearing-in ceremony. And it was so interesting, the people that had come so far from all over the world, the Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Iraq, Asia, Taiwan, everywhere, coming here because of the opportunity and the word freedom. And it would be a travesty if we as Americans didn't appreciate that freedom that so many have died for, servicemen, and so many have died for in the foreign wars on foreign soil that never got back here. And that's a sad commentary for us as Americans if we don't care anything about that. And we got 10 more minutes, and if you have a call, give us a call. Jonathan Wakefield, myself here, discussing saving America. And what do you think, matter of fact, that you could do to the things that you